There are some murders so brutal, so inhuman, they scar the public conscience. Few of us can forget the tragic deaths of Anita Cobby, Ebony Simpson or Janine Balding, who were tortured and abused before they were killed. We can only imagine how devastating it must be for the victims' families. The details of a son or daughter's terrifying last hours would be a never-ending nightmare. For this story, 3 families courageously revisited these most painful memories. Their struggle is heart-wrenching. Where they've ended up is starkly different. Incredibly, one father has found peace in forgiveness. Another remains hell-bent on taking the ultimate revenge. It's hard to imagine a sadder collection of photos. Anita Cobby was 26 when she was abducted and murdered. Janine Balding was 20 when she was gang raped and deliberately drowned. And Ebony Simpson was just 9 when she was raped and murdered. Ebony House is named after her. It's a retreat for families whose loved ones have been the victims of homicide. Incredibly, 900 families have had ties with Ebony House, and all of them, according to counsellors, have a similar reaction to the murder of a relative. Shock and disbelief is the first emotion. Sorrow and grief come next. But then anger and vengeance take over.
This guy is not coming out of prison on any parole board or do-gooders or psychos or whoever you will.
Mark Middleton is seeking the ultimate revenge. This is the police video that made him a folk hero in New Zealand.
And I will kill him if you let him out. Okay, no more. That's it. Carla was just 13 years of age when she was brutally murdered, and as far as I'm concerned, he robbed her of some 60 odd years of her life.
Mark's stepdaughter Carla was murdered in Wellington, New Zealand 11 years ago. For the first time, he's revisiting the lonely beach where Carla's body was buried in a shallow grave by her killer.
He'd raped her and tortured her and abused her and bashed her and did stuff that I really can't talk about. Brought her out here and he dug her a shallow grave and picked up a lump of wood and smashed her face in and just rolled her over face down, and she was alive there for about another 35, 40 minutes. Just covered her up. So she would have known pretty much what was going on.
I don't think anyone could comprehend that.
Well, mate, I can't. I just think about my baby's terror and what she must have felt. And I don't think I'll ever be able to cope with that. I don't think I can.
Carla was murdered by this man, Paul Daly. Daly was sentenced to life, but in New Zealand, that meant he was up for parole after just 10 years. For Middleton, that's a sick joke.
I can't even go down that alley and think that this person would ever get out and do what he did to my little girl, again to someone else's little girl or someone else's wife or grandmother or daughter or whoever. I'm not even prepared to think about that. And my challenge to the system is this, is that you keep them locked up forever, or the alternative is a very dark alley.
Janine was a bubbly, quite happy-go-lucky girl. I mean, she was engaged to be married and really looking forward to her future life.
Kerry and Bev Balding still grieve the loss of their daughter Janine 12 years ago, and they certainly can't forgive her killers.
She was taken forcibly in her own car, and she was brutally raped by all 4 men. There was 1 female in the gang of 5 people, and she was brutally raped, attacked, and finally she was tied in a ball and drowned in about 18 inches of water. which I find so hard to believe how anyone could be so cruel and do the things that they did. And there's no way in my lifetime that I'll ever be able to forgive them.
For the Baldings, there was little comfort in the punishment given to the killers of Janine. When they faced court, 3 of them were given life sentences. But Bev and Kerry fear that life doesn't always mean life.
They got their law on their side. No risk.
So do you think they'll come out one day?
Of course they will.
Even though their papers say never to be released?
Means nothing.
Life should mean life, I definitely think. Life should not mean 10 years, it should not mean 20 years or whatever, however many years. If there's life, it should mean life until they die, and that's how I look at it. You know, I think it's totally wrong if they cannot put someone away for life and have them never, ever to be released.
Oh, they were lovely. Jenny and Kirsty were 19 years old, and Lexi, she's a real wag, she was 16 years old.
Sandy McGregor's loss was catastrophic. All 3 of his daughters and their friend shot dead by a rejected lover.
The door was opened by Jenny, and Jenny was the one that he knew. She let him in, had to let him in, because he had the gun there and said so. And he went into the main room, declared his love for Jenny, shot her, and then within seconds shot Kirsty and then shot their friend. He then was moving outside back to the front door, and Lexi, the youngest one, came downstairs and he shot her at the entrance.
Did thoughts of anger and revenge boil up inside you?
Oh yes, oh absolutely. Oh yes, to the degree that, I was offered, at one stage, I was offered, well, do you want him done away with? And that was when I had to really wait for a response from within me. And I said no.
Did you ever think yes?
Momentarily, yes. Yes.
The killer, Richard Madrell, survived Sandy McGregor's momentary desire for revenge and is now serving a life sentence for the murder of the McGregor sisters. Remarkably, almost unbelievably, Sandy found a way to forgive him.
I would bring Madrell to my mind, I would think about the God within him, and then I would say, I unconditionally forgive you for the murder of my 3 daughters.
I forgive you, but I don't accept what you did.
I don't accept in any way, shape or form what you did, but I do forgive you for this act. Now, what he does with forgiveness is up to him. I am only doing it for me, not for him. Please, let me make that clear. I'm doing it for me, not for him.
Okay, this guy is not coming out of prison.
Forgiving his daughter's murderer is something Mark Middleton can never contemplate.
This guy is not coming out into this society to do this again to anybody.
Something he's never kept secret.
You can kill him if you let him out.
On television and in the press, he told New Zealanders that he would personally kill Paul Daly if he was ever released.
And I'm actively going to kill him. You let him out, I will kill him.
Threats he repeated in this interview with the police.
I don't accept anybody who says that they've rehabilitated him or he's worthy to be back in our society. He is not. Okay, and I'm the bottom line. The bottom line for me is you either keep him locked up or I'll kill him. And I'm not coming back from that, not 1 inch.
His outburst triggered massive public support and he came close to winning a seat in Parliament. But the law took a different view.
You're sentenced to 9 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years.
Middleton was found guilty of threatening to kill Daly.
You made some very graphic threats against Paul Daly. Is that something you still want to do? Kill him?
I've been given a sentence suspended for 2 years for making those threats. and I have been asked not to repeat them again in public.
Can I put it this way? Do you think you'll meet Paul Daly again?
Most certainly.
Do you think you'll spend time in prison later in life?
Well, that remains to be seen.
How do I read that?
Well, I haven't retracted my threats. I've just simply said that I won't repeat them again in public.
As soon as I realised that I'm having negative thoughts, then I knew that that would make me another victim.
Sandy McGregor is no stranger to death. He's seen comrades die in war and won the Military Cross in Vietnam for chasing the Viet Cong down tunnels. There were no prizes for softies in that war, and Sandy didn't make it to Colonel without making some tough decisions. He's no bleeding heart.
Do you think some people will go, my God, how can that man forgive the person that killed his 3 girls? How can anyone do that?
Yes, I can certainly understand that, and I've got friends who are in the same situation that haven't done it, right, and can't do it, and can't bring themselves to do it. And that is fine. That's their journey. If they could really understand what the forgiveness process is about, that would be more important, because the forgiveness process is, hey, I'm doing it for me, not for that person.
If he can forgive someone killing 3 of his children and somebody else, then fine, it's up to him. That's not the route that I'm taking.
Why can't you forgive? Does forgiveness ever enter your mind?
The actions of that man are so reprehensible that I will never forgive what he did. And as far as I'm concerned, serving 10 years is not enough punishment for that man.
Three families. All of them have taken a journey they never wanted, and all of them have dealt with it in different ways. There's no right or wrong, there's no correct response. All there is pain. Pain that will never go away.
I can't forgive them and I don't feel bad about it. When I say the Lord's Prayer, I cannot say I forgive in my prayer. I cannot say that. I leave that line out because I'm not going to say it, and then I know in my heart I am not forgiving, so why say it? I probably would feel I'd let her down if I didn't feel the way I feel, and I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel that I was proud of her and loved her so much, and I'll fight to finish to make sure that they're locked away for the rest of their lives.
Daly's made you suffer. You've lost your little girl. He could come out of jail one day. And you've made those threats. It's as though he's driving you and he might end up, in a way, having the last laugh.
I don't think about Paul Daly.
Ever?
I know where he is. I know his home address. I know which prison he's in, and I don't think about him.
But you want him.
The thing that drives me about Paul Daly is I've seen his handiwork firsthand. He will not do that to another child or another woman in this country. I will guarantee it.
There's a man in New Zealand who we've just interviewed. He can't let go and he wants to get this person.
Yes.
What would you say to him if you were face to face?
I guess, what I could talk about was talk about my own journey and talk about what happened to me and talk about what the forgiveness process is and ask him, is it doing him any good by hanging on to hostility? Does he Does he gain by it? Is he improving his health or is he making his health worse? Does it make him feel better or does it make him feel worse? Why let the guy win again, is what I'd say.
Sandy McGregor and Mark Middleton will be on our website at the end of the program.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinfort. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au, as well as the 9Now app.